Hey everybody, it's Kevra. That's me, I'm Kevra, and before you start calling me some bootlicking Nintendo fanboy, Jamboree TV is the worst possible DLC for a Mario Party game. Shouldn't be supported. The camera accessory for the Switch 2 looks like a stupid inferior version of the Kinect. Shouldn't be supported. Miyamoto is terrible at storytelling and should not be allowed around the movies. The Super Mario Bros. Movie was just 90 minutes of fan service. And yeah, I know that last thing has nothing to do with the Switch 2, but needed to be said. Anyway, let's talk about why you guys are wrong about pricing. So let's start with the fact that people are completely outraged over Mario Kart World being $80, which is partially true, but let's not act like there's not also a $50 option, which is cheaper than a standard copy of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. And you know, this isn't like some limited time deal. You know that Nintendo is going to constantly sell this bundle just like they did for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. So I don't know if the majority of people are even going to buy the $80 version. I mean, they might, but at the same time, if Nintendo just keeps selling this bundle, it sounds like a lot more people are gonna get the $50 edition. Which is why it's driving me crazy that everybody's focused on this $80 price for a game that a lot of people are gonna pay $50 for. But before we get too tunnel visioned on specifically Mario Kart World, maybe you're just worried about Mario Kart World being $80 because you think that's going to be the standard for Switch 2 games, which we already know isn't true. Yes, we do have listings for other games for the Switch 2 being listed as $80, but these are not brand new Switch 2 games. These are Switch 1 games that are enhanced and have added content. Kirby and the Forgotten Land is a $60 game. Kirby and the Forgotten Land with DLC is $80, which I assume all that upgraded content and visuals and all that kind of stuff is just going to be $20 if you already own the base game. So it's going to be $80 either way. Super Mario Party Jamboree is a $60 game, but if you buy the Switch 2 edition, which is Super Mario Party Jamboree plus the expansion pack of Jamboree TV, it's $80. Or an even better way to look at it is Super Mario Party Jamboree is $60 and then that's it. You just stop spending money because why would you buy this piece of trash? Why would you do that? Why? Like, this doesn't even look like good side mode content. And you have to buy a camera with it. Like, no, absolutely not. Focus, I already did that video. And then there's Tears of the Kingdom, which the base game is $70. But if you want the bonus content, which doesn't really look like it has DLC, it's just visual upgrades and all that bullshit. Like, the one extra feature is you can look on your phone to see where other Koroks and shrines are if you haven't found them all already. So again, save your money. Although, I don't know, $10 to upgrade visuals doesn't sound that bad to me, so maybe. So yeah, most of the $80 games are just $60 plus bonus content. So no one should really be looking to that as like the end-all be-all for price. And I get why people look at Mario Kart and be like, that's the new standard, but at the same time, we have Donkey Kong Bonanza at $70. That is a brand new Switch 2 game. And while Mario Kart is clearly the bigger title between the two, it's not like Donkey Kong is one of their low-tier titles. I mean, this game isn't exactly selling peanuts. 'Cause he's a monkey. He likes bananas. Oh, banana. Okay. So this is clearly not the standard even for Nintendo first-party games. I would put so much money on the fact that a new Star Fox is not going to be $80. A new Pikmin is not going to be $80. I think most games are going to be $70 or lower. The big exceptions will be things like Mario Kart World. Obviously, the big new open world Zelda game since Tears of the Kingdom was $70. Super Smash Brothers, which, let's face it, with how many different licenses that they use in that game now, I feel like that definitely has to be one of the more expensive. I could see that being even more expensive than Mario Kart, honestly. And then maybe some other Mario titles like a 3D Mario, possibly a 2D Mario, but 3D Mario sells a lot better than 2D Mario. So I do think $80 will be for a 3D Mario game, but not for a 2D game. And then it's not going to be for things like Mario Golf or Mario Tennis, things that only sell a couple million to begin with. At most, they're going to sell it for something like $70, like the DK Bonanza. Other than that, I really don't see a lot more things being priced as $80 or above. Maybe Pokemon, but since it's not completely Nintendo, I'm not exactly sure about that one. But yeah, I think everything else is gonna be $70 or lower. And honestly, considering the fact that Xbox and PlayStation games are $70 now, I don't really see that as that big of a deal. And while Nintendo might have some games that are more expensive at the current moment in time, I do think that Xbox, or at least PlayStation, is going to raise their price to at least $80, probably higher. Like, unless the economy turns around, unless things get a lot better, they're gonna raise prices. I mean, we basically already saw Sony do that with the PlayStation 5. So there is zero doubt in my mind that when the PlayStation 6 comes out, the prices of the games are gonna be raised too. And honestly, it makes sense why they're raising the prices of games when they're spending a lot more money on these games. My personal opinion is that they don't actually need to. They don't need these amazing, crazy, awesome looking games. I'm a Nintendo guy. Like, you know, we've always been a little bit behind the wheel, so I don't really care. I care about gameplay. Like, everyone talked about how Age of Calamity looked like shit, and I had a great time. I did not give a shit at all. Keep your 120 frames per second. I do not give a shit. Especially if it's gonna make my games more expensive. But at least according to the internet, I'm in the minority on that, and so the video game companies are going to spend a lot more money on a lot more of that bullshit, which means they have to raise game prices. I mean, yeah, they don't have to. They're billion-dollar companies. They're worth so much money, but at the same time, all they really care about is making more money for their investors. And if things cost more and they're making less profit, that means stockholders are going to pull out, which means the stock price is going to go down, which affects Nintendo, which is why they kind of actually have to do this in a weird way. And again, that's kind of why I blame the internet as opposed to Nintendo, because I was fine with the performance of the Nintendo Switch, but everyone else kept being like, where's the Switch, bro? The Switch performance absolutely sucks. And this is the results. I hope you guys are happy. You don't seem very happy, but you should be, because this is what you wanted. So yeah, I don't think anyone should be complaining about $70 games considering the other companies already do it, and I do think that's going to be more of the standard for Nintendo Switch 2. And when it comes to the $80 games, you know, it could be a handful of them, just, you know, again, the really big popular titles, but it could also just be Mario Kart World, and that could be for some very specific reasons that I'm gonna dive into right now. Now look, I already mentioned that there is a $50 version alongside the $80 version. Along with the fact that that's exactly how they did Mario Kart 8 Deluxe by constantly selling it at a lower price by just including it in the Switch 1 bundle. In fact, it's very possible that both of these reasons are why Mario Kart World is an $80 title and might be the only new game that's an $80 title. They're making the people like me who prefer physical media pay that extra money to counterbalance the people who don't mind a digital copy, even though that's not actual ownership, but that's a completely different debate. And they're basing this fact on their Switch 1 bundles of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. I mean, so many people got that game for cheaper because it was the bundle. It was always the bundle. I mean, right now I'm on Walmart.com. I can get a Switch 1 bundle with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe for $335. I can get Mario Kart 8 Deluxe for basically an extra $35. And then there's the added fact where, you know, if I get NSO plus expansion pack, I just get all the extra courses for free too. I mean, did anybody even buy the booster course pass, or did people just buy the expansion pack? Like, I am genuinely curious how many people actually bought the booster course pass, or if the majority of people were just subscribed to NSO plus expansion pack and just, you know, never actually bothered buying the actual booster course pass like myself. Heck, you know, even if you didn't buy the booster course pass or have the expansion pack, you could still play all those extra courses online for free. I mean, if you're asking me personally, I think Nintendo made a lot of stupid decisions. I mean, stupid for them. For consumers, it was great, but it's absolutely asinine from a company viewpoint when it came to Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, because that was a game they were gonna sell no matter what. They did not need to make it a pack-in title. They never needed to make it a pack-in title. The booster course could have made them so much money, but instead, they chose to do it for free online and for free through the expansion pack. Again, bad financial decisions. If you're asking me, if I was running the company, I'd be like, no, we're not gonna do that. That's crazy. So yeah, for all of those reasons, I think it absolutely makes sense for them to do $80 for a physical copy of Mario Kart World. You may not like it, but like, just hold out for the bundle if that's your deal. Like, if you really don't want to pay $80, just get the bundle. And you might argue, why don't I have a choice? What if they only have the regular version available, and then I have to get the $80 version? And to which I would reply, you don't have to get anything. It's a luxury item. This isn't rent or food. Like, if you've got principles, if $80 is absolutely not worth it to you, then stick to those principles. Only get the bundle. Or wait for a sale. You know, that's what I do whenever a game is overpriced that I think is not worth it. Skyward Sword, perfect example. I didn't think it was worth $60 whenever they remastered it. A month later, it was 40 bucks at Best Buy and I bought it then. So yeah, I don't know. I just feel like everyone's overreacting, pretending that every single game is going to be $80 despite the fact that we already have seen proof that it's not going to be that way. And even if it was, I feel like it's just $10 more than what people were expecting. Because a lot of people said that Tears of the Kingdom being $70 was testing the waters to see if they could upgrade it to $70 for all Switch 2 games. So to me, I'm not in shock, in awe, or disgust. I'm like, okay, that's $10 more. That's fine, I guess. And again, I don't think it's going to be for a ton of games. And maybe the third parties would charge a little bit more because it's on a cartridge as opposed to a disc, which is more expensive. But at the same time, if they're trying to sell to all three platforms, I don't think they're going to make it more expensive on one specific platform. Which is yet another reason why I think that most games are going to be typically $70 on the Switch. Like if they made the new Star Fox for $80 alongside Elden Ring for $70, and I'm assuming it's going to be $70 because again, I don't think they'll have the price higher on the Switch 2 unless they did say it's the tarnished edition, and so I guess it's probably got the DLC along with it, so maybe they'd upcharge you for that. But still, the point is, if you have an $80 version of Star Fox and then you have all these other third-party games that are like 70 bucks, it's gonna be harder to motivate people who've never played a Star Fox game, and again, Star Fox is not a big selling franchise, it's gonna be harder to get them to buy the Star Fox game when you have all these cheaper options. So relax, don't worry about it, because you're either freaking out about something that's probably not going to actually be the reality of all these games are going to be $80, or it seems like you're just kind of freaking out about the fact that Nintendo's game prices are going to be just like everyone else's instead of cheaper. But what do you guys think? Do you think $80 is going to be the standard for a lot of Switch 2 games? Are you upset that Nintendo is actually trying to compete with the PS5 and the Xbox Series and is giving us a souped up hybrid that's a $450 console? Let me know what you think down in the comments below, and until next time, I'll catch you later.